Pop persuadable. What's going on, boo-boos? We won, baby! We brought it home. We won. I'd like to give a big shout out to you all for fucking supporting us. I appreciate that, man. B4U were like I always use it as an analogy. It's like, you know that one dog in the litter, that little puppy that the mom always has to go back and grab because it's the runt? We're literally like all of that. That's what we are. We're like the black bulls from Black Clover, like that. That's good. That's what we be like. Anyways, man, thank you so much. I've recorded this video so many different times. This is one of the videos where I actually, I felt a little indecisive on how to do it. And I ultimately came to the conclusion that I am making this video as a coach and not as an MC. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, like, things that happened, things that, you know, went well for us. And again, shout out to Legacy and PR. Great match. So one of the first things that people were asking is, why did we choose Leo's memory? All right, why Leo's memory? Even the announcers in mainland China were like, wow, we can't believe that they chose Leo's memory. And I was also listening to Legacy's question and answers. They had like a little question and answer session. And I was a little disappointed in it because I felt like they spent more time talking about their bad spawns and but whatever, it is what it is. And so we picked Leo's memory because although it's not a popular pick, we knew based on our analysis that it was a weak point for Legacy. And in their question and answers, they also willingly admitted that. iAlien said he didn't really know the spawns too well. The Survivor said that they didn't practice it too well. And we could tell. And so the thing is that we took Legacy very seriously enough where we're like, all right, if we practice this map, we know that we'll probably have the edge over them. Because it is an unpredictable map. And we can use it to our favor. Now the thing is that with these spawns actually, and I'll get into this when iAlien spawns in, because I'm going to show you iAlien's gameplay. He actually got a really good spawn. As a hunter, he got like the best spawn. One of them, like one or two of the best spawns in the game he got for Leo's memory. So we did know that, you know, there's a little bit of a gamble playing this map. But we also understood who iAlien would probably ban with the mercenary. And although that's a good strategy for some players and some servers, we felt like we could capitalize on it. The thing to remember is that when you pick a map, some maps you only want certain rounds, like round 1 and round 3, or some maps round 2. It depends on who you're going against. So we didn't pick Leo's memory for PR for a reason. We knew that it probably wouldn't be as big of a weakness. So in their question and answers, they spent a lot of time saying how professionals don't choose this map, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that the folks on this server, we're not professionals. Even if we want to be, even if we'd like to say we are. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that the folks going to KOA could probably call themselves pro. But really, it's hard to be professionals because we don't have enough tournaments. That's actually not an insult towards Legacy or PR or B4U. It's the fact that really, there's only been really one tournament where they issued a pro table. They called it a pro table. That was the tournament that I won like 2.5 years ago. There's just not enough tournaments. I wish there was. So we looked at this and was like, all right, even though we may not play this in China, we know that we can get the advantage over Legacy if we play this. We think that Sprinter is a phenomenal hunter. I'd make the argument that Sprinter is the best hunter in NAEU I've ever seen. I'd say Call Me Duty is second and Blue Race Car being third. And, iAlien hands down is a top 10 hunter overall. And he's a really great hunter. And we were like, all right, we'd rather try to exploit this on a bigger map. And, we did practice this for some time. I came up with this plan probably in July, and then we abandoned it for a while. And then we kind of started exploring it back because I was watching some footage of some of clans come and go. But I was watching some of the footage. I'm like, guys, I really think that we can get an advantage on this. And if we, lose coin toss, we might choose a different map depending on what they choose. And that's what strategy is all about. And being a strategist, you have to know when to do things that are unorthodox, but you can't do things for the sake of being unorthodox. And that's an important point. And so, yeah, we understand that, Leo's Memory isn't the most popular map. There's actually spawn points that are really bad. Polblum's got a really bad spawn point against iAlien. But because iAlien decided to ban Mercenary, that actually works against him in some... That's a risk, because if you're allowing us to go Seer and Mechanic, you're allowing us to decode really fast, which means that you don't have the same ability to navigate around the map. Whereas if we're not banning Mercenary, we have more time to circulate around the map because of your slow decoding. So that's a consequence of your actions. So when he went against Seer, we'll talk about that when we get there. But, Legacy, I think Legacy's members, their survivors, did a decent job. And I know that they were being hard on their survivors, but I'm looking at this from a different perspective. And that perspective is that when the mechanic went down, and especially when the bot went down, I genuinely thought this was going to be a 4-man. I really did. I sat there and I was like, I don't think they're going to get a single person out, because Sprinter's that good of a hunter. And sometimes survivors, they underestimate the hunter. And Legacy didn't do that, but I mean just in general, like when I watch Sprinter play, when I saw those events happen, I'm like, all right, I think this is going to be a 4-person elimination. And Legacy did a fucking good job at adapting. Because sometimes your ability to overcome mistakes and your ability to adapt to unfavorable situations is what makes you a really good clan. And that's exactly what Legacy did. That double rescue there really, really helped them out. Because they should, if they didn't do that one move, they absolutely would have been 4-man in my opinion. And so I think Legacy did a good job at adapting. And that's what really makes them scary, is the fact that they were able to get one person out in those unfavorable circumstances. I mean, it was looking really bad. And then I think that attests to their good survivors. I think that they shouldn't be too harsh on themselves, especially if it's a map that they haven't practiced on too much, which we expected. But yeah, so echoing on that point, when they said that the match was easily tieable or easily winnable, they actually said easily winnable. I think that the whole, underestimating Sprinter worked in our favor as well. Sprinter didn't really do too much wrong in this match. A few things he got caught off guard on, but he played pretty good, especially on this map. But I think Legacy did a good job as well, adapting in those circumstances. Again, I thought it was going to be a 4-person elimination. Even the announcers in mainland China also thought it was. So, good job to them. But the thing is this. At any point in time, you could say a match is easily winnable. A match is easily tieable. But at the end of the day, I could die in 30 seconds and say, oh, well, that would have been an easy win if I didn't die in 30 seconds. And it's like, well, you could say that in any map whatsoever. You could say that in any match that ever existed. You could always say, we could have done this if this didn't happen. And it's hard to improve when you think like that, unless you look at exactly what went wrong and how to improve on that. And at least that's how I feel about it. So we wanted Legacy. I wanted Legacy so bad. When they were drawing the brackets, I was like, man, I hope we get Legacy. It's no stranger that Legacy and I, our team, we don't always see eye to eye, and hopefully in the future we can work on that. But we definitely wanted to be the ones that eliminated them. That's just the reality of it. Because listen, we're competitors. We take them seriously. We take them seriously as good players, as a good team. Why would you not want to eliminate them? If we want to go and represent our server, how are we going to represent our server if we're not the ones who eliminate the other teams on our server who we feel are really good? And so that's where that comment stems from. is that I was looking forward to this. And when we got Legacy first round, I was like, this is great. We've practiced for this. We've strategized for this. We've reviewed, hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage. We did what we needed to do as coach and strategies and strategize. And we felt confident. We felt confident going into this tournament. We didn't feel overconfident, but we felt confident. We felt like we had the right to believe in our ability to go in there and perform. And that's what happened. We performed. And we also knew, again, that if you can win that first round, puts a lot of pressure off you on the second. But we were prepared. Just as Legacy said, and I said this before, and I'm kind of repeating myself, they didn't really practice this map a lot. And during that question and answers, they really emphasized a lot of things. They emphasized, their bad spawns, which iAlien had a phenomenal spawn, and our survivors didn't, based on it being a seer. And they emphasized how they didn't practice this map. And they emphasized how professionals don't pick the map. And in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, I'm like, then you weren't prepared. Like, it's your job as a coach, it's your job as a strategist to have your team prepared. You got to be prepared for every map, and that's hard. Because I'm going to echo based on the other comment that I had. Not many of us on this server, if any, are really pros. We all have jobs, college. We can't play this full time and get paid for it, which is really unfortunate because I think that the three servers deserve that. I think PR, or teams rather, Legacy, I think B4U, would be really cool if we had sponsorships and leagues. So that's why we used it to our advantage. So anyways, this is a very, very strong spawn point. Very strong spawn. You're immediately cornering somebody like a seer. And now, the thing is that you can't complain about it being a seer because then you could have banned the seer. And that didn't happen. And this would have been this is probably one of the most important moments of the entire match. If Paul could have gotten this owl off just in time, if he could have got that owl off, it would have been it would have been even better. I do know that iAlien said that he gave him a free hit. He didn't really give him a free hit. He juked him twice. And I do know that iAlien also said that he was able to kill Paul in under 50 seconds, and that's not true either. Our seer kited for about 80 seconds. This was a really strong kite. Really, really strong kite, using the environment, being able to juke, being able to use that palette, predicting the follower. This is all skill. This is all predicting the hunter and really just using the ability that they can. Also, Paul made sure that he absorbed the leech. He absorbed the leech from the Dream Witch instead of getting hit by the main follower. So now what he's going to do is he's going to rotate all the way in the corner. Now, the only bad thing about this is that he's kind of rotating on top of Roland, so it's not really the best situation for us. But you see Paul really getting to this corner, which is going to take him about another 9 or 10 seconds to get him on a rocket chair. The problem is that Roland wasn't able to get this cipher done. That's the only problem. So there was a risk with this. That was the big risk. So anyways, at this point in the map, we're like, all right, we got to try to do as good as we can. But the problem is that I think Roland's going to rescue a little too early. It doesn't really buy our team a lot of time. And he's forced to do it, but it's not that bad either. We just need to secure a tie. We don't really need to play perfect. We just need a tie. That's all we need. And we would be down a further cipher, but again, that rotation on top of one another hurt us a little bit there. Something that we have to look at and say, okay, we need to improve on it. You know, we're not going to say it was a bad spawn for us and that's it. No, we're going to look at it next time. And we're going to say, okay, what do we do with this spawn and how do we communicate a little bit better so, you know, we can get that cipher finally popped off. But either way, we're down to 2 ciphers. We're down to 2 ciphers. We're dying in the corners for the most part and really forcing this hunter to kind of stay close to the rocket chairs. And that's the pressure that we wanted to give. And we're providing a lot of pressure where this Dream Witch does not have the ability to circulate around the ciphers. Every single thing these survivors are doing is calculated. They're constantly causing this Dream Witch not to be able to move around the map and shut down the decoding. And that's what you're seeing. And you're seeing a lot of these jukes buying extra time. Those little jukes on 2 or 3 hits, that's buying time. That's 5, 6, 7 seconds. Now Seer's going to go down there. We're still at 2 ciphers here. Let her keep moving around. Paul trying to get to this corner here. Trying to rotate out. And I think that we have both ciphers popped at the same time. So forward tries to go in and do their thing. Dream Witch does a great job at countering it. Great job at countering it. And we're just going to probably pop this cipher here because we're just trying to get a tie out. That's what we're trying to do. I think what Alien did, he did a really good job at countering that. I genuinely think that this should have probably have been a 3-person escape. I think our survivors made a few big mistakes here. And the fact that Alien was able to get a tie after that early game shows you that Alien is the type of hunter that you can't make too many mistakes on. Now that blink was unfortunate. Based on how he vaulted that pallet and immediately ran towards the wall, I'm not even sure if that blink would have hit him. Because by the time he was blinking, he was already vaulted towards that corner. And beautiful job from my Alien there. And really, the Gravekeeper is just trying to buy as much time as possible to secure a 2-person escape. This has been the strategy. I think, again, this shows how great Alien is, because you make little tiny mistakes as survivors, and he capitalizes on it. He did a good job. I don't think he had a bad spawn, by the way, but he did a good job. Now, let's get to this match. Again, about the whole bad spawn thing. So there's a few things I want to talk about that with this Lakeside. So first of all, this is not the route that I would ever train Sprinter to run. Although this isn't the most favorable of a route or spawn, this is not the route. That's a legendary rank mode route in a tournament game with actual, like, with teams and stuff. Once they identify the spawn point, they're not going to rotate into you, especially against a Sculptor. So that's buying us time. And that's what this is what Paul Blums is doing. He does a great job at activating Tinnitus. And they know that the teleport is going to be coming eventually. Paul Blums is doing a great job. Paul Blums is letting him know he's going to... Now look at Schmitty already rotated. Look how far away he is. That's a prediction of the trait. It's a prediction of what he's going to do. He's kiting in the wide open so the statues can't hit him. And Alien does a great job, I think, right here. Excellent job. Excellent job from Alien, because he was able to absorb the owl. So this is not about only spawn points. This is about a team still doing their job. Now, here's the thing, right? When it comes to selecting Sculptor on a map like Lakeside, it's a gamble. I'm going to tell you why it's a gamble. It's a gamble when it's second round or even first round. This is why when pros play Lakeside, they prefer Dream Witch. And the reason being so is that when you play Sculptor on this map, you're hoping for a good spawn. But it's a calculated risk because you don't really have a lot of mobility. Unless you have full presence, you don't have a lot of mobility. So when you play this map, second round, you're taking the gamble that if you don't have the best of a spawn, you lack mobility. It's literally the reason why people play Wu Chang. That's a beautiful job from Alien. It's the reason, and Legendary Rank Mode, they play Wu Chang. It's the reason why people play Bloody Queen on this map. It's the reason why they play Dream Witch on this map if it's first round. So it's like playing Bonbon on Moonlit. You can't, if you play Bonbon on Moonlit and you get rotated, you can't just blame the spawn. You got to look at it and say, okay, I took a risk. I played Bonbon on a big map. Now, the advantage to it is that if it works out in your favor, preferably you can down somebody pretty quick and then they can't come in for the rescue in time because they're halfway across the map. It's actually a pretty good way to get a 3-person elimination. But it's a risk, and it's a calculated risk. And that's why you're seeing that coordination. It's not only about the spawns. If he were to run directly in middle, if he runs middle from his route, he has a lot of ability to really cut people off. Now, the other thing, too, is that if you play Sculptor and you have Teleport, the other advantage is that you can go after whoever you see first and try to get a chip shot on them. If you can get a chip shot on them, like a mercenary, just as an example, I know he's banned, but if you can get a chip shot on somebody like actually he's not banned, I'm sorry. But if you can get a chip shot on mercenary, it messes up their whole rescue later. So the other strategy is, even if you don't get the most favorable spawn, if you can chip shot somebody like a mercenary and then you teleport away and they don't rotate off of the cipher, preferably you can get a kill pretty quick, and now somebody can't even rescue because they already chipped once. So that's where when I saw Lakeside, I'm like, all right, well, they lost the first round. And we've practiced Lakeside for many. See, a lot of us have been playing some Season 1, and we practiced Lakeside. We were prepared for it. And the other thing, too, is that when you're going first as a team, really, if you don't perform well, then it gives us an idea of which character we can play. Which is why this is a good body block, by the way, from my alien. Does a great job. And Schmitty did a good job dying in the water. Really slowed that hunter down. Took him a lot longer to get into the rocket chair. So where you die is very important. Oh, good job from the survivors with that boost. Now we have 4 survivors up. He does a good job taking Schmitty down. So again, this is a very important moment. What does iAlien do? Well, we predicted the teleport in the beginning. And so the idea is that we don't think he's actually going to move. We think he's going to teleport immediately. Teleports, no one's over there. That was another prediction from the team. So that's why that was one of my issues with just, respectfully said, you can't always just say, it's a spawn issue. Like if I go and play Arms Factory, right, as photographer, I know that on Arms Factory, there are some really good spawns for photographer, like deep sandbags. And then there's really bad spawns, like when I'm to the left of factory and I got to change up my gameplay because there's no camera for 8 seconds. So sometimes it's better to change up your strategy, right? I think that our survivors did a good job at capitalizing on some of those missteps. I also think our survivors did a good job at predicting. I think that we were able to read a lot of his moves. We were able to rotate correctly. We were able to rotate off of that cipher way before the teleport. Can you imagine if he had blink? Obviously he didn't, but imagine Schmitty running off that cipher looking like a dummy. So at this point, we're like, all right, all we need is a tie to win. And so what do? We're going to pick a character like Bloody Queen. And this I did feel bad because this is about that whole bad spawn point. And it's also one of the reasons why teams don't always pick Lakeside. I think this Embalmer does a really good kite, really good job. And he's really just reading all of the moves that Sprinter's trying to do. He honestly, if he wasn't as great of a kiter, or she, I'm sorry, I don't know, they would have been dead by now. And so they're doing this is just amazing. Almost got that volt. That's fucking great. That was really good. But the thing is that when you look at this gameplay, okay, I was a little confused on this comp. The whole 3 rescuers and an embalmer, I understand the idea of it. This would work very, very well if we chose Sculptor, and it would work very, very well if we chose Bonbon because of lack of mobility, and we also knew that Dream Witch was banned, so we can't play Dream Witch. So the character selection of Bloody Queen is literally the counter to this when we only need a tie. They need to get 3 people out at this point just to tie it. So if we kill 2 people, it's game over. And I don't think this is the correct lineup for that from my strategy standpoint. And that's the beautiful thing about tournament gameplay is that other teams have different strategies. And if you're trying to get 3 people out, this is very difficult when you play Bloody Queen. So Sprinter selected this character as a counter to what they were doing. Now, the other thing that Sprinter's trained on is to prevent the forward stun. And this is what happens. He drops them and makes sure that it doesn't work. And that's a very important moment. We play forward very different from how Legacy does. We don't really play our forward like this all the time. I mean, you can against a Bloody Queen, but it can also backfire on you. And right now, they only have 2 people decoding, and it's a very slow decoding composition. This is essentially allowing our hunter more time to kill you, unless you can do that harassment. That was a very good stun from Green. I really like Green. I've played with Green before. Green's been around for a long time, and that's why Green's playing forward. He's one of the best forwards on our server. So anyways, I was a little surprised by the Lakeside selection. I wasn't completely caught off guard. And we knew that based on the first round, we knew what we had to get done from our hunter. I think he does a good job over here too. Throwing that pallet down, juking, predicting when the hunter's going to follow through. I don't know how that hit didn't hit because of Blood Queen's fucking ridiculous hitbox. But like as a survivor main, I was kind of happy it didn't. But then as a coach, I wasn't happy that it didn't. I had a mix of emotions on this one. And so a lot of people were shitting on this embalmer, saying, why didn't he coffin? He's doing, or she is doing the exact thing that they need to do. That was the right call. You don't want to activate that when you're close to it, especially against a Bloody Queen. Because a Bloody Queen is just going to catch up onto you. So this allows more decoding, and it allows both people to come and harass. We've seen this strategy in Korea as well, where they really like to try to harass like this and have one person decode. I think the strategy technically would work better if they just went down to, 2 rescuers. But even though they're doing a good job, at the end of the day, again, we only need 2 people eliminated. Really, with this strategy, you got to hope that you can harass long enough where we don't even down somebody before the 5 cipher pops. Because after that, once a Bloody Queen has detention, it's game over. It's an incredible risk. Beautiful blink. We went over some anti-wildling strategies. We were prepared for wildling. Sprinter and I, we worked together on some wildling anti-strategies. This is also why he doesn't run away from the wildling, because this is some of the strategies that we planned against. We know when it's appropriate to go after a wildling and when it's not. And he does a good job here making sure that he cheers them. He doesn't just say, oh, it's a wildling, I need to move away. That's not how it always works. There's times to engage, and you see him putting him right on the ciphers to shut this cipher down. They need 1 cipher, and he can also see this one possibly wiggling. And once he sees it wiggling, he knows that Fun V isn't over there decoding. So he's shutting down the decoding. He's providing the map pressure. And he actually isn't trying to hit Green. He's not going to swing. He doesn't fucking care. He's trying to push you off of that cipher to make sure you're not decoding it. And the problem with this, though, is he doesn't realize that Fun V does a great job, an amazing job at sneaking through. So sneaks through and gets a rescue here. And so Sprinter sees the rescue and says, fuck it. I'm going to go to this side of the map. Provide pressure to the other cipher. And make this wildling waste their time with the hog. Because he's still providing pressure, and then he teleports at the last second. Not the last second, but he teleports. So he shut down the decoding, made him use that boar. That boar was the right choice, though, by the way. Green does an excellent job tight kiting this area. I will admit, Legacy's kiting has gotten much better, in my opinion. A little bit of a delayed hit from Sprinter. And so, I was talking to Schmitty about this, how just running straight's better. Watch. He'd actually would have gotten away, most likely. Could have, I don't know. That's a tough area if he would have ran straight, but he did his best. And now, again, only needs to get 1 person eliminated. If we tie, we win this. Because based on the points, we won round 1, and we got a 3-person elimination. If we win, if our survivors win and then our hunter ties, it's game over. So that's why I was surprised by this move to pop the Cypher. Because although a wildling can waste a lot of time, it's not always going to happen against a Bloody Queen. Again, Sculptor, Bonbon, it works better against. So what Sprinter is doing is that he's engaging with the wildling, and he sees that forward hasn't been saved yet, and he predicts that a survivor is going in for the rescue. Doesn't happen before half, so now he's going to engage with the forward, and once this forward is eliminated, it's good game. We've won, and we go to the finals. And so that's a secured win. And that's why I was surprised by the format. I don't think they were expecting the Bloody Queen. And if they were, then, I do know that they were saying that the entire point of their strategy is for Embalmer to get away. And if that's the case, then, again, that's very unfortunate with the spawn points for sure. And that's why sometimes choosing a map like Lakeside, if you're going to pick like an Embalmer strategy, you got to be careful about the Bloody Queen. You got to be really careful because it can counter it pretty fucking hard on certain maps, including Moonlit with a Bloody Queen, including, that's where it'd be interesting if you do this in round 3 and you say fuck it and you pick a big map and you just get rid of somebody like Bloody Queen and Dream Witch. But then you got to worry about Axe Boy. Either way, man, Legacy's a good team. I'm just providing my commentary as a coach, as a B4U member. And, again, we took them super seriously. Congratulations on playing really, really well and showing the server how deadly you guys are as a clan. I really genuinely mean that. Mayhem is a great coach. I really like him. And, I'm looking forward to our future battles as well. And just like this tournament, we're not going to underestimate you. We know how scary you are. Bye-bye, guys.